in office. It didn't quite work out the way we planned, but
we noticed.
It was still a great experience.
A good effort, yes. And did you get time to hang with the boss and learn from him?
I did a little bit. Very gentle, kind soul.
Yes, he strikes me as that. And also, before I let you go, we have a series of, basically we've ripped off the idea from Inside the Actors Studio. I don't know if you're familiar with it.
Yeah.
Same questions we ask every musician that comes in. First thoughts that come into your head, maybe reveals a little dark something about yourself. First question, what would you ban?
First thing that comes into my mind is cigarettes in places that you're trying to play a show, but that's already been done.
That's already been done, so either that or silly questionnaires like this one.
That's a good one too.
Well, you've already got that one. That's ticked off. What advice would you give your teenage self?
My teenage self, I would say, don't take anybody's advice.
Okay, including your own.
Including my own.
Sure.
Right.
If you could jump into any film and live the life in that film, what film would you choose?
Probably some Pedro Almodovar movie that is in Spain.
Okay.
That's
Perhaps,
just the first one that comes.
Sure. Perhaps with one of those kind of erotically charged.
Why not?
Why not? Exactly. Thank you very much indeed. So yes, the album is called Hold Time. It's out at the moment, and people will. You've played all your shows in the UK. We're not going to see you again for a while.
We'll be back. No, I'll be back with the band in late spring.
Great. All right, brilliant. Well, thank you very much, and again, a little round of applause for Emma Ward.
Morrissey from the new album. And Sammy, you were having an absolute whale of a time, weren't you, just then?
It's literally like a Rio Carnival in my seat. It was so good.
That is When I Last Spoke to Carol, tune from the new Morrissey album, Years of Refusal. And I thought it was absolutely tremendous.
Yeah, now, while you were away, Steve, you would have missed Morrissey on The One Show.
The one, what?
One. It's the greatest show on telly.
Listen, I myself have had the good fortune to be a guest on the One Show. I think, even as I was on there promoting something or other, we had an interview with Stephen Hawking.
Yeah.
And something about tomatoes.
Of course you did.
It's an eclectic programme, rather like this one.
Absolutely. Well, it's brilliant, obviously. And, the huge shock, Morrissey sat there on the sofa.
That's bizarre. That's like Morrissey being on Pebble Mill at 1.
I know, it was weird. I don't think I've ever heard him talk, like, not even at gigs. And it was very strange. He immediately upset everyone. Because the first item was about, people losing their jobs and struggling to find jobs. And they turned to Morrissey and said, so Morrissey, a lot of people have never worked through a downturn before, won't have experienced this sort of thing, losing their jobs and then even harder for them to try and get a new job. What would you say to that, Morrissey? And he says, well, if they've only ever known sort of success, why feel sorry for them?
Oh, what?
And old Christine Blakely sort of was aghast.
Of course
she looked aghast. Giles was trying to cover desperately, but the temperature in the studio dropped dramatically.
What was Moz's reason for being on there? He doesn't need to do that, does he?
Well, he's pushing the album, isn't he? And he was saying, well, instead of finding new work, then, maybe people should, make some art, or,
oh, goodness
join
me.
a band. And it was great. He was wonderful value for money.
Well, he's an absolute joy, but he's an obstinate man. You wouldn't want to interview him, because I've never seen him answer positively to any question.
Never agreed to anything.
Every time you you happy with the new album? Well, that's the only thing. He'll always say it's the greatest album he's ever made. But aside from that, it'll be, you doing it for the fans? No, I'm doing it for myself.
Yeah.
Right, okay. Do you care about the fans? No, I hate them. It's always kind of everything he does. But he is a joy, isn't it?
He was
a looming
fantastic.
national treasure.
Yeah, and just to see him sat on that sofa, it was worth.
As I say, called Years of Refusal, a cracking tune from it. And listen, Sammy, you have never been won over by Morrissey. He's won you over with that tune. Are you going to win us over with your choice this week?
I think, I hope I will, because I feel desperately passionate about not only this song, but most importantly this band. Gomez are going to release a new album this year, and I'm getting incredibly excited about it already, because they are my most favourite band. I've never been in love, Steve. That's a sad thing to say, but I am in love with Gomez.
Sure.
I've never loved anything more than I've loved that band. And this new single, which has been released as a free download at the minute, so you can pick it up. It's going to be released, physically, but just to get the free single, buy the album. It'll be a treat, I promise you. I'm going to dedicate this to my friend Ben, because he's the only person I know who loves Gomez as much as I do.
What's the tune?
Airstream Driver.
Sammy's musical choice on this week's Steve Show. Explain yourself.
This song was Airstream Driver, and it's from the new album A New Tide by Gomez, which is going to be so exciting. I fear my internal organs might just explode.
Thank you very much indeed.
I have no time for the jibber jabber.
We've got no time for the jibber jabber because we have to delve into the pigeonhole, listen to 3 of the big new tunes. I'm sure many of the Six Music listeners will already be familiar with them, but we will start with the Pet Shop Boys after this.
Six Music.
New tune then from the Pet Shop Boys. This is Love, Etc. Your opinions, please, ladies and gentlemen, after we've heard it. Love, Etc. from Pet Shop Boys, released on the March 16th, and so there we are. Now, I remember seeing the Pet Shop Boys at Glastonbury, and I was absolutely bowled over by them. I'd forgotten just how many cracking tunes they've written. It's one of those bands that kind of slip out of my bonds. But, Harry, have they won you over?
Well, it's always nice to hear multimillionaires telling us how money isn't important. It's always a good thing to hear. That struck me as a kind of contractual obligation. We need 2 tracks to go on the best of double CD. I imagine the other one is a sideways look at celebrity culture. It wasn't great. It fulfilled a need.
Pet Shop Boys have not changed their sound, it would appear, since... What was their first tune? 1986? 87?
Oh, probably before that.
Really? Probably before that. The fans will get in touch. I'm sure they'll let us know. But they've not really changed their tune. Are you going to change your tune in terms of whether or not you like it? Probably you don't. Does that make sense? Good night.
I'm going to disregard what you asked me.
It's the
Just tell you
malaria.
what I thought of it. Oh, sorry. I didn't mean to be racist. What upsets me about them is he only did it to say, well, if they can do it, I can do it. That was the whole reason that he did the first singles, because he edited Smash Hits, was it?
Yeah.
And he said, well, I can do that. So why is he still doing it? You've proved your point. Go back to what you were doing.
Well, firstly, because a lot of people enjoy his music, and
Which
he
is
seems
fair
quite good at
enough,
it.
but-
And Smash Hits is no longer working.
There's other magazines. But it was like he was sticking 2 fingers up at everybody. Now he's become part of what he hated, still pointing a finger back at people. I just don't
Is he
understand.
part of what he hated?
I think so.
But you did miss their performance at the Brits, which was actually quite good. One of those sort of mega mix performances with Lady Gaga in her knickers and fella from The Killers squawking. It was quite good.
So, you've been charmed by the Pet Shop Boys, you hate them.
I like their early stuff, but if they'd given up back then and we could remember them as some great 80s being, I think it would be better.
Really? Is this homophobia?
Yeah, I'm sorry.
Oh, I knew it. Oh, I knew it.
I'll
I
just leave.
I always get to the bottom of things. You remember that fella from Keene? Wasn't he in the Priory for drug addiction or something?
Yep.
Well, don't worry about that. It's all cleaned up now.
Oh, thank God.
He's back out. They got a new single out, Better Than This. It's also released March 16th, so if you're in and in between the Pet Shop Boys and Keene, you'll be able to decide. New single from Keene, that's Better Than This, also released March 16th. Steve Show 6 Music, we're just listening to some tunes from a couple of big hitters that have landed in the pigeonhole this week. And Harry, your opinion on Keene?
Well, I don't want to make light of addiction. It's obviously a terrible thing, but if I worked at the Priory, helping people out, I'd say maybe it's your choice of career that's led you down this path. And maybe one of the steps to getting yourself better is perhaps to look for alternative career choices. Sadly, that advice wasn't proffered to Tom, hence that.
I've always thought it quite unlikely that Tom would end up with a drug addiction. He doesn't look like the sort of fella that would fall off the wagon in that way. Sort of like you imagine, I don't know, it's like sort of, if he's going to be susceptible, then are we going to see Aled Jones selling crack?
Well, he does paint.
Probably known as the Snowman. Here comes the Snowman.
He does paint quite a tragic picture of addiction. He says that Tim would come to my house. I'd refuse to answer the door. I was spending a lot of time crying in front of Cash in the Attic. I think we've all done that.
We've
Steve.
all been there. Well, yeah, exactly. So, yeah, I'm not entirely sure I've got to the bottom of what your thoughts were on that.
Well, it was pretty awful, but David Bowie will probably make some money out of it. So,
Well, hang on. Is there an official Bowie sample in there, or is it just Bowie-esque?
I don't know if it's Bowie-esque, then he'll sue and make money, and if it's a proper sample, then he'll just get the money.
Keene, they are huge amongst the youth of today, aren't they, young Sammy?
Young people's parents, yes. I was very unfashionable and loved the first album. I went to see them live, thought they were magnificent. Wasn't a big fan of the second album. When we played Spiralling in the Pigeonhole a while ago, I didn't like it, but I have found myself humming it recently, so I don't know if this is going to be a grower as well. But they have fallen into a trap by calling their own song Better Than This, because you can't help but think, yeah, you have done better than this.
Ooh, she's turned the tables viciously. Not just a pretty face, the tongue of a tiger. Okay, so finally in the pigeonhole this week, here's a man who I'm sure we've got some strong opinions. I don't think we've listened to him or heard anything from him for quite some time. I think since his last tune was given an appraisal in the pigeonhole section. Here's Pete Doherty, now Peter Doherty, and here's Last of the English Roses. Peter Doherty and Last of the English Roses released March 9th. I don't know if Pete is trying to fool people into thinking he's a different artist, and the clever addition of the R has fooled legions of people, but there we are, that's his new tune. I'm behind Pete Doherty. I want him to put something out that's truly breathtaking. Obviously, you know, the dizzying heights of the Libertines, I don't think there's anyone is there in this room who didn't appreciate them at their very best. So I think we're always rooting for him. Has he done it for you there, huh?
I enjoyed it greatly. I've always got a lot of time for Pete Doherty. I bought one of his fanzines off him when he was selling QPR fanzines when he was about 14 years old.
Oh, really?
And if I still had a copy of it, I could sell it to one of his mad fans for thousands of pounds, but I don't know where it is. He gave me change of £2. He gave me a 50p back, and not a problem at all. Good as gold. Good as gold.
What a good egg.
Yeah, he seems like a lovely man, but I wouldn't necessarily want to be his landlord. He doesn't look like he keeps a clean flat.
He's not going to get his deposit back, is he, Doherty?
No, not at all. But he seems to be going down a bit of a Clash route there. I enjoyed it a lot. It wasn't outstanding, but it was very enjoyable.
Has he won your heart?
It's sad, I agree with you that I just want to see him being brilliant again. I watched a video of him once, some documentary or other. He was about 16 and he was just beautiful, and his poetry and everything, and you do just want him to clean him and slap him about the face and make something a bit better. That was just a bit dirgy and sad, and I want him to be excitable and brilliant again.
It sounds like it's at 33 and it ought to be played at 45, that record. Somehow there's some, you know, I just felt
really
like he should get a cup of coffee in him and give it another crack.
No, it's nice laid back.
Oh, I shouldn't mention crack. But anyway, well, thank you very much indeed for your opinions. I'm sure we've probably, we've divided the audience.
Yeah.
They hate some of us, they love others.
Anonymous texter ending 38 just says, "You bigots."
You bigots! I wonder in which, because we've been bigots towards what exactly?
It's
Towards
not been
Doherty,
specific enough. Yeah.
Jones, maybe it was a rabid Allied Jones fan. The very idea that he would be that he would be selling crack.
I'm
is
not feeling
appalled and
chased
upset.
enough because it's not specific.
Exactly. I'm snorting in the air. You don't snort crack, of course. That would be absurd. Why would he sing that? Why would he sing that? It wouldn't make any sense. Just because he's saying it doesn't mean he's doing it as well. You know, don't do anything from your own stash, isn't it? I don't forget what.
Don't get high on your own supply.
Get high on your own supply. If there's anyone who knows that, it's Jones. Goodness sake, what were you thinking? I don't know if you've noticed, but on the cover of the NME this week, they gave away a free Cure covers CD. It's
Oh, really?
An eclectic selection of different people doing stuff, including Dinosaur Jr.
What?
Yeah, doing a cracking version. I think it was of Just Like Heaven.
Oh, yeah.
That's I think from a couple of years back. Who else was on there? There's some good names. There was who was a friend of the show. Came in one time. Nice fella. As a band. But he tends to sort of talk more than sing.
Dan the Sack.
No.
Scroobius Pip.
No, he's not a rapper as such. He's more of a sort of indie acoustic
Art
sound.
Brute.
Art Brute, right? Art
yeah.
Brute doing one of my
Idiocracy.
favourite tunes, Catch.
Oh,
Does a
fabulous.
good version of that. But anyway, what am I going to choose? Plus, actually, it's a really good little CD because the first sort of track is Robert Smith himself talking about cover versions and offering you some songwriting tips. So if you're a Cure fan, or indeed if you're a songwriter, have an earwig. See what you think. But anyway, there's, as I say, a number of people on there. Mystery Jets have teamed up with Esser, and they've done a version of In Between Days. So yes, obviously you're probably aware that Godlike Genius Award at the NME Awards this year was given to The Cure, and to commemorate that they gave away a free CD. And Mystery Jets, they're doing In Between Days with Esser. There's also Lost Prophets on there, Dinosaur Jr. as I say, British Sea Power doing A Forest, and also Get Kate Where Kate Fly, friend of the show, also doing In Between Days. So it's worth checking out. We are pretty much it on the Steve Show. Thanks guys as ever for coming in. Mark Watson will be here next week. Great comedian, came in before, was an absolute treat. And also in session Marie Joseph, so we're looking forward to that.